Anita Mendiratta is an aviation advisor, and it's a delight to have you back on Global Business Europe. Welcome. Anita, how big a moment is this first international flight for China's aviation ambitions?
Juliet, thank you very much for having me back. And if I think of you and I speaking last when I was at the IATA AGM, it's incredibly exciting, and incredibly exciting for China, but also for global aviation. The importance of this isn't just it reaching out internationally. It's the fact that COMAC, which has been part of the conversation for several years, is now part of the supply chain when it comes to aircraft. So this is a statement not only about Chinese aviation, but Chinese identity when it comes to aviation technology, and putting an opportunity now for global airlines to actually start purchasing, knowing they've had huge pressure on their deliveries from both Boeing and Airbus. So it's a significant moment for the entire aviation community, and a proud one for China.
Well, we talked to China Airbus not long ago. They talked about how they're going to be building more A320s in China. That's to capture, to capture the same market that COMAC is chasing. Is COMAC actually competing with Airbus or with itself?
It's competing in a way, but importantly, the aviation market and supply has been very, very limited. So this is very good because it actually complements what Boeing and Airbus are already providing. Still, it's not at scale. It's just in its early points, and it's only with Chinese regulatory approval. But what's critical about your question, Juliet, is that when we look at Airbus and Boeing and COMAC, they all rely on the same supply chains, which are outside of China, the most critical being engines and avionics. And we know that Boeing and Airbus have been held back significantly on their production rates because of issues with the engines and avionics, as is the case with COMAC, because about 20 to 30% of COMAC's parts are actually beyond Chinese borders. So it's not all produced in-house and all the materials in-house. So it's a good thing for the duopoly, and it's a good thing for global aviation, because they're simply in undersupply at a time when global trade and travel are surging.
But you touched on supply chains there. I want to know a little bit more. I mean, what is COMAC's delivery status? Because we've seen some of those supply chain squeezes, haven't we, over tariffs?
We have indeed, and it's been, quite honestly, the supply chain for COMAC is tiny. They've only just started. Importantly as well, when we look at the actual aircraft, the C919, this competes with Boeing 737 MAX and the NEOs on the Airbus side. So it's very much future technology of aviation. It's lower emissions, much lighter, and that's where it's a good thing when it comes to sustainable aviation. But as you're saying, there have been constraints and issues around supply chains. But again, COMAC is only at the starting point of deliveries. They've only had 3 to 5 aircraft actually delivered to their Chinese customers. So it's really creeping up, because from a regulatory perspective, quality and safety will not be compromised. Everything must be absolutely certain in terms of the quality of production, and by implication, the people who are actually flying as well. So this is a slow process, and this is only within Chinese regulatory environments as well. There's no indication as to when European and American regulatory approval will even start as a process. And until that happens, the order simply won't come through, especially beyond China.